Hi there. I'm Phil Marino. This is
Joe Willie Namath.
That's right.
Or I've been called a lot of things over the years.
So I was lucky enough to help Joe facilitate the writing of this book, and it's such an honor and pleasure to sit down with him. And I will say, probably one of the biggest privileges of my publishing career, to be able to write this and work with this book with you. So.
Well, thank you, Phil. Yeah. And folks, I did thank him because basically how we put this book together was his idea of using the game and going through my life, so to speak, and some things that I realized that for over 20 years I haven't shared publicly, and I thought that there were some things that I could share with you, and hopefully it'll influence anyone that needs it in a positive direction.
That's great, and I think you haven't done a book since 1969. Is that right?
No, but
well, the last memoir was real sort of
yes. I did a couple of teaching books for young players and parents,
which actually was published by Little Brown.
Yes, yeah. I think A Matter of Style might have been too.
Yeah, might have been too. So quite a history, which is exciting. But why now? I think everyone wants to know why now. Did you feel you were ready to do it?
Well, again, we were coming into the 50th anniversary of our championship year when we won January 12th. Mm-hmm. And for New York City and New York surrounding area, for Jet fans all over the country that were AFL fans, that was huge, man. We won the first championship. But during that year, too, the New York Mets and the New York Knicks also won championships. And I don't know how many towns, pro towns, have had 3 pro championships in the same season. Mm-hmm. So that kind of triggered the thoughts along. Maybe people want to know how it was leading up to that game, going through that game, and all. And also, I've learned some things through the years that I wanted to share. And they're not all positive things, but positive outcomes, I believe. Life throws some curveballs at us, and we swing and miss. We get knocked down, but we got to find a way to get back up. And basically, it's us. A team game, football, a lot of games. Life is a team effort, is a team game, and we need one another.
That's for sure. And so I'm curious about this. So you've been a sports star for probably as long as you can remember, right? Growing up in Beaver Falls, you had some natural talent. I was curious, what was the first autograph you've ever signed?
I don't remember that. Oh, wait a minute, maybe I do. Yes, it was at Art's Char House in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Was it?
Western Pennsylvania, man. Art Katrina had a restaurant right on the corner across the street from our practice fields and across the street from a dormitory on campus. And his little daughter came in. She might have been 8 or 10 at the time.
And you're in college?
And I was in college, playing for the Crimson Tide. I was in college, and she came in, and it was Art's suggestion. Oh, Katrina, go ahead, honey. You ask him for autographs there, and that was the first time.
Oh, that's fun. And now you got a lot of them in front of you here, so that's exciting.
Well.
You get sore?
I get a kick out of them. Hey, I have some at home, man. I mean, Ted Williams, you kidding me?
Never forget him.
Had the honor of meeting Ted, and he sending me a baseball and all, and we communicated. Arnold Palmer.
Oh, cool.
I've collected some Mr. October. Yeah. So I was a sports fan growing up, certainly. The Pittsburgh Pirates were my team, and Roberto Clemente, man. Right. And my former wife at one time gave me an autographed baseball from the Pirates, Roberto Clemente's name on it.
Oh, that's beautiful. You still have it?
I still have it, but you know what? When these pens say permanent, you better keep them out of the light somehow, because Mr. Sunshine and Light has a
decade or two in there.
yeah, it's that permanent.
Florida Sunshine too is a little more powerful though. So
yes, it is. Yeah. It's our only tropical state. We're the one that's the longest way down, and I love the tropics.
Well, we got some fans checking in, so let me turn to the feed here. And I like this question here from Christopher in Clayton, North Carolina. What was your favorite stadium to play in and why?
Well, you know what jumped right out at me here was the Orange Bowl, because we lost 1 out of 3 there, you know, and 2 of them were huge that we won. We beat Oklahoma when I was at Alabama. We beat Oklahoma on New Year's Day, and it was Bud Wilkinson, the great coach, last game. President Kennedy had come to the game, and he was sitting up there, but as Coach Bryant informed us in the locker room before the game, President Kennedy was sitting on Oklahoma's side. Ooh. Well, you know, we didn't need any extra incentive, but we win 17-0. And then we go down to the Orange Bowl my senior year. We're undefeated. We are national champions in 1 poll, and we lose to Texas. So that didn't help me continue to like the Orange Bowl, but Super Bowl, the World Championship Game 3 was played in Miami in the old Orange Bowl.
Real grass.
Yeah, but Fenway Park was one that I remembered best. I mean, the Patriots didn't have a home field a couple of years there. They'd play at Brown, and we got to play them also in Fenway Park. And being a baseball fan, a baseball lover, man, just walking out there the day before the game, I'm looking around, feeling it. I'm in Fenway, man, looking at that green monster over there. And then the coach comes over to me and he says, "Look here, Joe, you see the pitching mound is not shaved down as far as it should be shaved down."
Was there the mound in the middle of the field?
There was the pitching mound was still there, and Don Maynard, our wide receiver, says, "Yeah, you know," he said, "you get to backing up a DB that way, he might trip, and I can run right by him." So that was a little...
Include it in your pass patterns, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. Oh, here's a good one. Do you still have the fur coat?
I have more than one.
Okay, good.
I have more than one. Yes. But living in Southeast Florida, there's not the kind of weather I get to wear it occasionally. I just walk into the closet and go like that a little bit, see. But yes, I do.
So I got someone checking in here from Michael from Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. Says, "Hi, Joe. I was born and raised in Chippewa in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. And my dad was BFHS class of 1970. Any chance you'd be willing to share a fun or unique memory about Beaver Falls that you haven't ever previously shared before?"
Well, I mean, we used to walk from downtown Beaver Falls out to the drive-in theater on 51, man. And yeah, and I mean, not hitchhike, talking about walking, and we had to walk by about 3 graveyards, and that was pretty scary when we were walking back after the, and we would rap on a car's window that was coming to go in to see if they'd put us in their trunk so we could get in. See, we didn't have.
Did you ever look for the oldest gravestone?
Man, when it was dark out there, I think I went in the graveyard one time, and that was a different location. I was so terrified of graveyards and darkness at the time. I wasn't. I wasn't.
I think
brave.
I'd rather face the Oakland Raiders defense than go into a graveyard at night. So
no, it's cool now. We understand now.
So I got a question here from Stuart in New York. My 9-year-old son Josh is your biggest fan. Tells me all the time that you are the one sports legend and celebrity that he wants to meet in his lifetime. Hopefully someday you can tell him your answer in person, but in the meantime, what is the best life advice you can give him?
Well, Josh, if you have a passion to do something, buddy, you can do it. You learn everything you can possibly learn. Anytime there's a question in your head you don't have an answer, you ask the question to somebody. You see if you can get that answer. And don't let anybody tell you you can't do something you have a passion to do. Believe in yourself, buddy, and just give it your best effort, and your dreams, you can make them happen.
That's great. That's great. And this is a nice one. How difficult was it to adjust to life after football?
You know, adjusting to life after football, for me, wasn't that difficult because I was fortunate. I went from football right into the arts, doing some theater, doing some acting, doing some performances with a cast instead of what we call a team. And it's still a team out there. Knowing that I couldn't play anymore I wasn't physically fit to play. I had some leg injuries, and I really couldn't deal. I wasn't good enough to be on the field anymore. I knew that I had a better run also than I had started out believing that I would. I played 13 seasons, and you know, when you're a rookie, you're just looking to make the team, man. You know, if you can make it through that first year, good. You're going to the second year. Winning the championship was the key, and after football, I utilized the lessons I learned from home, from working, from playing ball, from being mentored by different coaches to continue life. And to this day, life's a team effort. We're together.
Here's a fun one, too. Christina from Hamburg, New Jersey. What's your favorite Hungarian dish?
Oh, man, Christina, it starts at home with my mother. Yeah, I mean, liver dumpling soup is special, man. Yeah, you know, and stuffed cabbage. Boy, you make some stuffed
Joe
cabbage.
Namath, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm first generation. My father came from Hungary, and my mother's parents did. And I have some Polish friends, too, that are pretty good with the galumkis, the stuffed cabbage, too. But liver dumpling soup jumps right out at me. That's my mom.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
No, it's not, man. It's with vegetables,
you ever
too,
smell that
you know.
when they're cooking the cabbage?
Oh,
You haven't been hungry, though, right? Have you been?
No, came close, but couldn't get a hotel room. My buddy, Mr. Walsh, and I, we were over in Germany performing in a movie with, Lee Marvin, Robert Shaw, just Linda Evans, and we got a break for Easter. And, man, we said, let's go to Hungary, and we're going to go to Budapest. We couldn't get a room. It was fashion season.
Really?
Fashion. It was just sold out. So we went to Notre Dame. We went to France instead and Mass there.
We published Rick
Easter.
Steves. I want to do a Joe Namath, Rick Steves trip to Hungary. You know him, the tour guide guy? We got it. Okay, that's gonna happen. But in the meantime, I want to have a couple. We have time for a couple more questions, right? Yeah. What was the best advice Coach Bryant ever gave you personally? And we got some good stuff in the book from Bear.
Oh, well, yes, Coach Bryant. We do have some good things in here regarding Coach Bryant, the mentor, a coach who's just wonderful. We were the best. One jumps out at me, and that was my sophomore season. We're getting ready to play the first game of the season. I'm a sophomore, the youngest guy on the team, one of them, and I was going to start at quarterback that night. We're playing Georgia in Birmingham. And Coach Bryant, after the pregame meal in the morning, would take the quarterbacks out and walk around the block and talk to us. And as we get out of the hotel, I'm there. We had 3 seniors and the junior quarterback there. And Coach Bryant just said, Joe, you got the plan? I said, yes, sir, I think so. He said, you what? You think so? Son, it's time to know. The hay's in the barn. Well, being from PA, I didn't know what he was talking about, the hay being in the barn. But I never made that mistake again. I think so. I made sure I knew what I was supposed to know as the quarterback on the team going into the game, except for once in pro ball. My dad was in the hospital, and he was not supposed to make it. And I had gone home to Beaver Falls a couple of times that week and missed practice and all. And we go up to Baltimore to play the game. I'm sitting in front of my locker looking at the short yardage stuff, just trying to lock it in, knowing how, man, that this was awful. Well, we went out and we played. We completed 14 passes for 497 yards and 6 touchdowns. Johnny Unitas threw for 390. It was a record that day. So afterwards, I said, thank you, Lord. You know, he got me through there. It was a tough time. That was the only time I wasn't really prepared to play. And my guardian angel, for the good Lord, looked after me.
I got to know, what were your pregame superstitions? What did you do? Was it a meal You wrapped your knee a certain way, right? But was there anything else?
You know, that's the thing about the game. A pre-game meal, for example,
Everyone's got
was
these
a cup
superstitions. Yeah, right.
of coffee and a piece of toast. You know,
That was
we didn't have any nutrition working in the third or fourth quarter. No, I laced my shoes right over left. I still do to this day. I was working for the city of Beaver Falls, the recreation department in the summertime, and my boss was a military guy, former military guy. He was the kind of guy that had his blue jeans. He wore his blue jeans to work with creases in the front. His white T-shirt was pressed. He was as clean as a whistle. And he's driving, and I looked down, even his shoelaces were neat. I mean, they weren't rolled, they were flat, just right. I said, man, how do you do this? He said, well, I'm looking at your shoelaces. They're so cool. He says, military, we lace right over left. And that was the Air Force, what form it was. So I started lacing my shoes right over left, and I do to this day. But the one day I didn't, I tore knee ligaments in my right knee, the fourth game my senior year in college. There was so much going on before the game. Somehow I messed up, and I'm not superstitious, mind you. I know I'm not superstitious. I've even walked under a ladder, but most of the time I walk around. I do test fate a little bit once in a while, but I ended up taping. That was the one thing: putting tape on my shoes and lacing my shoes right over left.
Did that pop into your head before the first snap that you didn't do it the way you always did?
No, didn't think about it.
After the game.
Actually had my thigh pads in backwards. Actually had my thigh pads in backwards. I mean, where was my head before that game?
I got a question here from William from Sedona, Arizona. As a camper the first few years, what was your most cherished memory of the Joe Namath football camp?
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for bringing it up. First of all, John Dockery had the idea of us doing a football camp, which we did for 46 straight years, 46 straight summers. And John came to me in practice in Shea Stadium locker room one day and said, Joe, I got an idea. I'd like to share it with you and see if you'll be a part of it or help me out. And he wanted to use the sport of football to teach youngsters about life, not just about football, not just about a three-point stance, not just about how to catch, run, block, but about life, about owning up to responsibilities, about counting on one another and having them count on you, about ownership. And it was John's idea, and like I say, man, we did 46 straight summers until we wore out a bit. And we don't have the camp anymore, but I met a lot of wonderful children, a lot of wonderful parents, and it was a great run.
Oh, that's great. So I think we're winding up here, and got 22 questions for you in 2 minutes. 2-minute drill. Who would you like to have dinner with, past or present? One person.
Oh, man, well, my parents to start with, you know, but if you want to keep it out of the family, it goes to my Uncle Joe. That would be another.
Okay.
All right, Coach.
No Hungarian food. No Hungarian food allowed.
And, you know, there's no offense to the ladies out there. Besides my mother, I'm leaning toward guys, you know, like mentors, coaches, you know, Coach
How about
Bryant.
someone you never met that you would love to have dinner with? Is there anyone off the top of your head?
You know, I haven't given that a lot of thought. Off the top of my head, it would be better than just dinner, though.
Yeah. All right, are you a Game of Thrones guy?
No.
All right, so we'll move on past that one.
I'm not big.
So,
you know, I don't watch.
All right, what is your favorite breakfast food?
Well, fruit for one thing. Just going into what I do today, you know, it's fruit, and I do eat a hard-boiled egg.
Okay.
Other than that,
light breakfast though.
Yeah, usually light. Now, if I go out with friends, I might get an egg white omelet, and I treat myself to some rye toast. Rye. I don't do wheat these days as much as I used to. Very rarely, but a breakfast. I would do an egg white omelet, maybe with a little cheese, which I try to avoid too. But it's moderation.
Exactly. All right, this post-pot comes up in the book a little bit, but what's your favorite genre of music?
Well, now, I think of people again, and there's the music, I love different forms of it, but I think of people. And Mick Jagger, I'm just starting right there because most recently I saw Mick Jagger performing again at his age.
Oh, did you?
Too. Oh, well, not live,
Okay.
no. But, at his age too, and Joe Walsh is outstanding. Man,
got a good Elvis story in the book too.
Elvis. Okay, please. You see, this is something I get under pressure trying to remember.
Yeah.
So many people that I respect, and it filled my life with joy. Music. At Alabama, we didn't have music in the locker room, and I was able to bring in my transistor and get a little music in the locker room. It's the same thing at Shea Stadium. When we went there my rookie year, I brought in my radio and put some music there. I needed something to go to start me going.
Who was your idol growing up?
Oh, man. Well, in football, it was Johnny Unitas. He's a quarterback. At least when I got to that age of paying attention more of the pros, I watched Johnny Unitas. But that was because a guy I'm from his hometown, Jim Mutchler, played for the Baltimore Colts.
Right.
But baseball, I love baseball, and Roberto Clemente was my hero.
Yeah. And we know the answer to this, but what is your favorite international cuisine?
Favorite international? Now, I didn't say Hungarian was my favorite. I did not say that it was my favorite, but whatever I think of my mother, when I think about the liver dumpling soup, yeah, man, that's cool. I move around. I eat bland. I mean, I love Italian food. I love Italian food. How can you not love it? But that, again, you live and learn, and at this stage and for years, tomato sauces, you got to be just right with that kind of sauce, and Italian food is wonderful.
What about candy bar? You got a favorite candy bar?
You know what? I like a few different candy bars, but I have adjusted. See, I rarely eat sugar during the day. At nighttime, I get a craving. And recently, in the last month or so, I've learned, a couple of months anyway, that if I eat fruit at night, some grapes maybe, some kiwi, some watermelon, that satisfies my sugar crave. And I find that I'm not eating a chocolate, milk chocolate. Excuse me, dark chocolate's good for you? I don't like the taste. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry. I'm
glad you said that, because that makes two of us. All right. So what is your favorite season? You only have one season down in Florida, but...
Well, it changes a bit, being raised in western Pennsylvania was a joy, having the 4 seasons.
Yeah, you must miss the snow a little bit, right?
No, not at this stage.
That's what a Minnesotan says, assumes, but...
My daughters and I, and grandchildren, we get in the snow maybe once. I do maybe once a year, but this spring, I love this spring, and I refer to it sometimes, seeing the ladies come out now in the frock that's a little lighter, and rather than those heavy coats and goulashes and everything, the dress change and the flowers blossoming, blooming, the smell, yeah, the spring I love, the fall. I didn't like raking leaves, but I appreciate the beauty in Central Park, the different colors, yeah.
This is actually something we never talked about in the book, but do you have a favorite animal? Did you ever have an animal growing up?
You know what? Oh, yes. We've always had dogs, for sure. And
you have a bunch of dogs now.
Yeah, and our first cat, and my grandma had parakeet birds. So I have daughters. They have birds, they have lizards, they have fish, they have dogs and cats, and right now at my house, I only have the 3 dogs that I inherited, of course, from my daughters.
Go-to workout. What's your go-to workout?
Well, it depends on the time of the year. With the knees, I had my knees replaced in 1992. So what you do when you have joints that are tough, you don't want to do any pounding. Whether it's for your neck, your back, your hips, your knees, your ankles, pounding is not good. So what I learned to do was swim. When I played with the Los Angeles Rams, my 13th season, they put me in a swimming pool for cardiovascular exercise, breathing, as well as swimming. So to this day, I swim.
Okay.
I swim when the water's right.
You have a little pool out front, right?
Yeah. And in the house for the last many years, I use a Nordic track.
Okay.
A Nordic track is because you're not bending that knee a lot. You're able to still go slide along, doing some resistance, leg and upper body, and you're inside. So the Nordic track and getting in the water.
Every day?
Not every day. No, I write it down every day that I train, and first year that I kept track, I did 66% of the year. And that's not bad, but then I thought to myself, does that mean for 4 months I didn't do anything? Huh? So I tried to pick it up. I got to 70%. Right now, this month, I'm just at about over 50% by one day.
That's good, though. So, that's impressive.
I've been healthy.
Especially when you travel as much as you do.
That can throw you off. Routine, and I know it's like making an excuse, but I'm not fanatical about it. I do know what it takes, and I do believe in exercise.
So what do you never leave home without? When you're traveling and go to the stores, or anything you bring with you other than your wallet? Cell phone? Anything else?
Well, yeah, but never leave home without. I left home the other day.
Your cell phone with you.
Last week I left without my cheaters, without my sunglasses, man. No. I'm talking about I was lost. Yeah, I came to New York last week and I didn't have my sun. I'm on the airplane squinting, looking out the window, got my hat down, just that was tough. But I was only here for a day and a half. So.
We gotta get you those flip sunglasses.
That's what the Pirates used to use in baseball, man. Things. Yeah, they'd hit that.
Do you have a favorite time of day?
My time of day is the dark time. Couple of deals before dawn. when the street belongs to the cop and the janitor with them out. Yeah, that's guys and dolls, a little bit of that there. My favorite time of the day is probably... well, it's about the people, seeing the daughters, seeing the grandchildren, keeping busy, making sure.
You pop out of bed in the morning, though?
Man, I don't jump or pop out. I have my alarm set for 6:12 a.m.
6:12?
Yeah, my mother was born in 1912, and my daughter's 12th month, 12th day, another, and I wore a number. I was given number. It's been a lucky number. Let's put it that way. Starting with my mother.
He's not superstitious at all.
No. Instead of setting it at 6, I set it at 6:12.
You got a favorite pizza topping?
When I eat pizza today, it's organic. And
back in the day, though, coming out of Bachelor's 3, would you grab a slice?
Peach is Sicilian pie. Come on.
Oh, the square
My
stuff?
grandmother would make Sicilian pie back home in Beaver Falls, right there in the house, man. And up here in the city, I like the Sicilian pie, but I do like the thin pie too.
Okay. So I know you have some not favorite teachers, but you have some favorite teachers from back in the day.
Are you talking about in school?
I think so.
Okay, Mrs. Oliver. An English teacher I had in college. I have to lean on her. She influenced me. She was a positive influence. And the rest of the teachers, let's say that I was at fault, understanding what they were trying to accomplish. All right? I would be a better student today than I was back then.
That's understandable. All right. You're now published 3 books, I think, right? It's your third altogether?
5, I think.
5, okay.
Who's counting?
Who's your favorite author?
Oh, man, James Michener comes right off the top of my head, I like the books that he's written. Richard Bach, he's written a couple of books that I get a kick out of, like Illusions. And that was one of them. It says, argue, to paraphrase them, argue for your limitations and they're yours. So just a couple of guys. I've read a variety of authors, adventure books and all, and I'm still looking at educational books too.
That's great. I think that's all we have time for. I think we're supposed to premiercollectibles.com/Namath. You can get some signed copies and read. I'm going to plug the book right now. One of the best football memoirs ever written, and I mean that. It's not just a book you want to have on your shelf. You got to read this thing. It's like spending some actual time with Joe Namath. It's beautiful. So thanks so much for coming in.
And thank you. Thank you. I wish you the best of health and happiness, no matter what.
Great.